Hi, this is a response to Melinda's I'll keep it short, which she didn't. I'm going to be reading off the screen, sorry. Oh well. I always look over Melinda's videos and articles and want to clarify things she said, and I feel guilty about it, but oh well. At one point in the video she was talking about this girl who had been sexually abused when she was 13, and on this girl's website a bunch of haters wrote mean things about her, and she deserved it. Melinda was saying that, when Melinda was saying that, she kind of paused before she said, and she deserved it. It almost sounded like Melinda was saying that the girl deserved to have haters saying mean things about her, but actually the haters were saying that this girl who survived abuse had deserved it, not that Melinda thought she deserved it. Another thing is Melinda jokes about being hooked on meds, and she sadly reverts to an anti-psychiatry perspective on things, like when she talks about wanting to experience hallucinations again so she can work through them without drugs. Like it's preferable or possible to blow away hallucinations and delusions with pure willpower. It sounds nice, but it's brought to you by the same wishful thinkers who brought you welfare mothers pulling themselves up by their bootstraps. Some problems just can't be overcome by putting your nose to a grindstone and making some kind of mental effort. Try treating your diabetes by wishing them away, or try telling a person in chemotherapy they're taking the easy way out because they should just stop being such a wuss about their tumors. Nobody bitches about diabetics being hooked on insulin, and diabetics probably don't love it, but they're not going to listen to critics who make them sound bad for taking effective drugs to stop it. It's just stupid. I'm over-explaining, but it's not always clear when Melinda's being sarcastic. I think she's being sarcastic about being hooked on meds. I wish she was sarcastic when she talks about trying to work through the problem without the meds, but she kind of vacillates back and forth. Melinda often says, "I wasn't that sick." I hear this from her all the time. She's slightly in denial about how bad a person has to feel before they agree to be admitted in a psych ward. When it comes to being psychotic, most people see it as a condition that is either on or off. You're not mildly psychotic, just like a woman is not usually seen as slightly pregnant. I realize some people have longer episodes than Melinda has had, or they never break out of it, or they refuse treatment, or can't find one that works for them. But the more you talk about being not really sick, the more it sounds like psychosis isn't, I don't know, it's like a imaginary problem, and you should just pull yourself up by your bootstraps. I know you don't believe that. Melinda talked a little bit about this 24-hour clinic we went to during her first psychotic episode in 2000. It was an urgent care place, kind of a step above a clinic, but a step down from the emergency room. I was pretty much deluding myself that it wasn't something that needed treating in an emergency room, and that we should go to this place instead. And nowadays it scares the hell out of me hearing how Melinda was consciously planning for the possibility of taking a bunch of sleeping pills. And at the time I still trusted her that she just wanted to use them to sleep. Anyway, this urgent care place, it was, basically she went in there saying she's hearing voices, she can't stop, she's been in talking to a therapist about it, and she can't get to sleep, and it's bugging her. And the doctor there said, well, I can only give you a prescription if you feel like you're depressed. I can't remember if she said depressed or if she said only if you're going to hurt yourself or hurt others. Like you might be suicidal or you might hurt others. And Melinda said, no, I don't think that, which she was lying about feeling. She was feeling suicidal off and on at the time, but she wasn't admitting it to the urgent care person. And so the person said, well, I'm sorry, there's nothing you can do about it. They did talk about how Melinda had an appointment to see the therapist in a day or two. And so she was saying, well, I can go to my therapist in a day or two. I already have an appointment scheduled. I think the urgent care doctor said she would call Melinda's therapist, and they talked back and forth about it. But anyway, maybe it would have been better at that time. I guess it worked out, but it would have been better if Melinda would have just said, yeah, I do feel suicidal, give me some. But anyway, so she tells the story of going to the doctor later on, because went a couple days later, and the doctor said, offered as an option, do you want to get admitted into the hospital? And Melinda said, oh yeah, sure, okay. And I was freaked out because I thought people will never come out of mental hospitals. I mean, I thought once you go in, I think I misunderstood what they were trying to teach in abnormal psychology class. Once you go, being in a mental hospital does not necessarily give you, being in a mental hospital for a time period does not decrease your chances of having a relapse later. So to me that sounded like it doesn't do nothing for you and you'll never get good again. I thought people just stay in mental hospitals indefinitely. It's not quite like that, and these days, I don't know, it's like different meds, and they seem successful for Melinda. And these days I take it much more seriously when she starts having a problem. I keep in mind how she revealed long after her first episode that she had suicidal thoughts during a lot of that, the heaviest part at the start of her first episode, but before we got her into the hospital. Something like 10% of people diagnosed with schizophrenia eventually kill themselves, so it's not a problem to toss around lightly. People that preach against psychiatry and against medication totally piss me off. I would like to preach against their continued reliance on air. They should just stop being a wimp and go cold turkey from using air. Don't worry about that head rush and your face is turning blue. You just have to make an effort and work through that. Don't let people tell you you need air. And you'll come out the other side feeling much better, and you'll be confident in the knowledge that you cured that oxygen addiction all by yourself. Isn't that nice? And I would volunteer to sit on the chests of any anti-psychiatry believers who want help with that. Tom Cruise, have your people call my people. We'll do lunch, and then I'll help you with some vitamins and exercise and chest sitting that will cure your oxygen addiction. Anyway, just before she went into the hospital last time, I locked up all the aspirin in our house, sleeping pills, scissors, and knives, put them all in a toolbox and put a combination lock on it that she didn't know the combination to. That was only for a few days or a week because she was starting to sound like she might get suicidal. Finally, it got really bad over that weekend, and she agreed to check into the hospital like on Monday morning. Jesus, we were basically talking all night, or I might have got 3 or 4 hours of sleep. But at 2, 3, 4 in the morning, we had come to the conclusion this isn't getting better. Checking into the hospital would be good. And I mean, she agreed to me, and we were both kind of waiting up off and on to check into the hospital as soon as possible. I think she called, and they said come into this area at 8 a.m. Anyway, and I kind of feel guilty, like I should be able to talk Melinda out of it. There's nothing you can do to help her or talk her down. I wish those anti-psychiatry bastards would try sleeping next to their spouses for just a night or two while they're raving and crying and talking about all the things they hear. It's not something that you can just talk them out of. No one would keep themselves awake night after night ranting and crying until they can't stand to be awake anymore. It's not a fun little game to get attention. Another point in the video, Melinda says, she often says to me, I don't think it's ever going to come back. I'm pretty sure she said this once or twice before the last time she checked herself into the hospital. So here we've got a history of making that claim and seeing it turn out wrong. Dear, you are not batting 1,000 with that prediction. I hope you will. I hope that you never have a psychotic episode again, but like any recurring disease, we need to watch for it. You don't need to go into denial about whether it could ever possibly happen again. And that is all. Thank you for your time, and I love you. That's not for Melinda, that's just for anybody else listening. Okay, Melinda can have some too. Bye.